So hi, today the main topic is the JavaScript generator. Since also I only have really only minimal experience of using this generator syntax, and, and after using this as our service, and 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 I believe this generator is hardly is kind of really practical. It's not really theory thing, or is not really just the some kind of grammar that you don't use, but you don't use. So let me just try to explain more about generator first. If you look at the MDN web documents, generating is saying that um, it just gives you the if you use a generator, it gives you generator constructor, and that will make you to make your code, make your some kind of logic inside your generator iterable. That the mostly we use for loop and while loop to iterable, but this one is you can control how many times you want to iterate, and you want to stop when there's iteration. What do you mean by that? So if you ask what I mean by that, let me just say, um, there's a ChatGPT here, and let's say this is ChatGPT, and let's say also this part is the input. Of course, there's gonna be a send button here. If you're trying to write whatever stuff in your chat input, and if you're trying to if you click the send button, your text will go to the server, and server will now able to detect server will able to detect your response, and it will just give you the streaming text. So it's an example. Let's say hi. Wait, sorry. Let's say, let me just try to increase this text first. Yes, much better. And if you let's say this is your text box, and oh, okay, that's not what I'm trying to. So and user the chatbot will of course they will respond back to your input. So hello, my name is whatever stuff. Since most of chatbot uses streaming, and and they and rather than putting all text in one single one into the one message box at the in the one exact same time, most of people most of the company they use the like typing effect that this chatbot is being looks like writing down vividly. But the problem is that how do we make this in the front end part? But the most good thing you can use is you can use stream hook, use stream query hook in the chatbot. But if you don't do it, you can just make it your own. And the first thing you have to consider is re-rendering. For the you don't have to use if you're trying to use state. There's gonna be a bunch of multiple rendering, and there's gonna be issue of this your typing effect renders. So you have to use useRef to not make it as a re-rendering, because useRef is just the value of it. And now use generator. Why do we have to use generator? Is because let's say this text isn't finished, and there's a button that make user to stop this streaming. Since if you're trying to use if you're trying to put the business logic rendering the some kind of adding the text content on the message box while streaming. If you're trying to, so you might put some kind of adding text content in your message box while streaming code business logic in your while or for loop. It's kind of really okay, but but the hard part is that you don't know how to it's really hard to stop because the while loop is synchronous, but if your text content is async using promise, you cannot easily detect the promise ends. The meaning of promise ends is our client has to render those kind of word, or let's say just the text chunk. It has to put some kind of typing effect with it, but we can just do it with the promise space. So rather than blocking the thread, we can just use you can just send the text content on this thread and the promise that we can just make sure that we can just validate is promise is done or not. If it's done, go to next promise and next promise and next promise, and after that, if there's no if the message streaming is finished, we can just renders, or we can just fully show the UI that this message streaming is done. So that's kind of a good thing about promise based, because promise based you can use the resolve or reject and whatever stuff, and then and finally, so you can just detect your promise is done or not. But if it is while loop and for loop, it's hard to detect while rendering this page, because the it detects after your while loop has finished or for loop has finished. And of course, user can stop the streaming while clicking stop button, and they can do whatever stuff. So putting some kind of business logic on the while or for loop could be some kind of could lead your chatbot web survey into some kind of problem. But I'm not sure about this, but I faced the problem, so I'm just gonna share it for you guys. So so our code was heavily, it was rely on the while loop for rendering the text content and putting the streaming box. So what I did was I made JavaScript generator that they like this. So the can I edit this code? No. I think there should be. Let's just use console. I can't use console. So whatever. I'm just gonna type it here. Since this is a generator, the generator, the most good thing about generator is you can detect, or you can manually increase the loop, or you can just stop it. So we just migrate the while loop into generator. So this is gonna be like this: streaming generator and generate, and this is instance. So I will just gonna get the message queue. Let's just use JavaScript, and if there's message queue, no, just use TypeScript. So it's gonna be string inside this, add set timeout, add delay. That seems like this looks like typing animation or experience. You have to put delay because text content has to be delayed if to make it sure that if there's like type effect. So put delay on it. After this logic is done, you so put here. I think this would be nice. Let text content here text. So we were just gonna I'm just gonna trying to write the code and like I'm getting interviewed. So streaming generator is actually the functions, but you can just inside put the loop even inside the streaming generator. And I think to render some kind of fully text content, first make the text content or the value that so that we can just append the text after the pop or shifting or popping the queue of it. So there's the text content, and I'm just gonna make while loop because the reason why I make while loop is I have to detect is the message queue pop is valid or not. So if message queue dot length isn't equal to the 0, we have to pop it. So this is gonna be like your message. So now since we have the multiple text content in the message queue, and after making a while loop, we have to pop it so that we can just append into text content. And after appending to the text content or adding the string, and now we can add the delay functions with the yield. So now we can control which part is which part that we can stop or begin. So let's just say it's a message queue dot pop. Yeah, the shift is gonna be nice because it is queue. After receiving the message, more validate if the message is valid or not. If it's no, let's just early return. No, so let's just do it like this. If it isn't no, we now have to put the message on text content. Message here. And after we fully merge the text content, right? Now we use yield syntax to send it back to the instance that called the generator. Yield text content. Moreover, I can just use delay to make it seems like the typing effect. So now we can use delay if it's asynchronous, like this part. Add delay, and then it's the queue, the shift. This is gonna be nice. So now this delay is a promise, and with the set timeout, and if the default is like 0.2 seconds, we have to make sure that this is then we have to make sure that this promise, this set time is already done. If it's done, we now shift it into message queue, then and this message is the content that newly popped into message queue. Since this is a kind of fresh message, put into text content if it's valid. And now you have the beautiful text content that fully merged, and you yield back to the you use yield to send it back to the instance that called the generator. And there's an instance, right? And you check, you do whatever stuff. Let's just use placeholder value and do let's just say while placeholder isn't done, since the generator isn't done, we have to let's say test content. We have to return test content because the type isn't gonna be if there's no test content, the return value will be string or the void. Now use placeholder to use it for the temporary value for detecting the generator is done or not. And if you have a ref object of your message paragraph ref like current, and you have to text content, so it's gonna be like, so it's gonna be like this. If your next value but since we have to make sure that renew the placeholder when we call the next, and we have to put the next first on the placeholder. So after that, we can just check if placeholder is done. Now after putting the placeholder, and check if the placeholder value is null or not. First, if it's not null, we can now put the fully made streaming text content into our DOM object, which is the streaming message paragraph. Yes, I think this is gonna be how do you use generator. So what if your product manager or product owner say, we have to put some kind of logic that if user click the stop button, you have to stop streaming text. Since if you don't use generator, that could be hard. But now we have a generator, fully made generator here. We can just use some kind of the early return on this part. Yeah, on this part. I think you can just early return here. If is stopped, if is streaming has ended, you can just break it and tell that it interrupt. Break, and let's say, and now you can just reassign interrupt value into true, so that you can just show other business do whatever business logic to to show or to delete the streaming context when you click the stop button. So interrupt whatever do logic when the user stops your streaming. So this is kind of really why you have to it's kind of really good to use generator. First of all, you can manage the thing. You the for loop is synchronous and it's blocking blocking a thread. So it could be the problem, and it's really hard to stop because that stays here in the memory. But if you use generator, you can stop and you can put delay, asynchronous, or timeout if your generator requires more delayed. And moreover, if your business logic requires some kind of the interrupt fetcher, you can just use the interrupt fetcher on the inside the while loop. So you can just and so you can just elegantly stop this this generator or the loop, and that is kind of much better than the other for loop and the while loop. So this is it. So since I didn't know about JS generator and I didn't study that much, so I think I don't know you guys like this video or not. So this is it. Have a nice see you next time. Bye bye.